Our next guest is none other than board-certified tax attorney Badass. Please welcome Jeffrey B. Kahn.
There he is, tax attorney Badass.
Right.
What's up, Jeff?
Hey, nice to be on the show. It's been a while.
I feel like it's been forever.
Yeah.
But you know, tax season is tax
Yeah, I was going to say, he's been a busy man.
Yeah, it's like, you know, that's
right.
I mean, this time of year, people, you know, lock themselves in places so that they can get their taxes done. They wait to the last second. It happens every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, but now that's over, right? So we're past April 15th. It's been a couple of weeks. So now we're at that kind of doldrum moment where, you know, taxes, I did my taxes. You know, whatever frustrations I had, I did it. It's over with. I'll worry about it again next year.
Right.
Jeff, isn't this the perfect time, though, to really look at what you just filed
I
and
agree.
say, is there something I could do differently this year? Because you still have some time to actually do something different.
You have a lot of time, and especially now that the pain is so fresh. You just had your return done. You have to write a big check to IRS, or perhaps you already wrote it or trying to deal with it. It's like, didn't you learn your lesson? Do you really want to go through that again? Let's do planning. Like you said, we still have over half a year left. There's a lot of things that you can do, especially if you're a business owner. There's a lot of planning that can be done versus where you're an employee, you're working for somebody, you have your salary. Don't have as much flexibility there as if you're a business owner.
So if you own your own business, you work for yourself, or you're, let's say, a contractor of some sort,
Mm-hmm.
then there's a lot you can do in these last 6-7 months
That's right. That's right.
to change what the next tax bill looks like.
Exactly.
And there's a myriad of things that you can do, obviously, from saving money for yourself to just sort of looking at what you're deducting and maybe did you miss some deductions potentially?
Correct. Yeah.
Things like that you can find that, you know, it's too late or I didn't keep track of it. Oh, shoot, yeah, I didn't realize I could deduct that. There's a bunch of stuff there. It's money people are just leaving on the table, man.
Correct. And one of the things, too, by going through this exercise now is perhaps I can find stuff that you missed out on your prior year's returns that it would make sense to file an amended return and maybe get some money back.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess that's true. If you have the ability to, some of that stuff, you can go back. How many years? 2-3 years you can go back?
For benefit of an overpayment, 2 years.
2 years?
So, I mean, heck, 2 years. File amended returns, get some money back from the government.
Yeah, look for the last 2 years and see what you see.
That's right.
And if there's not enough there, let's say it's $1,000 or something, you say, all right, well, moving forward next year, those are the things we want to do. We're
Exactly.
keep track of your meetings, we're going to keep track of your miles, we're going to keep track of these things so that we can make sure you get the most money.
Exactly.
A lot of people, like Rebecca, filed an extension. So they didn't exactly get the release that the rest of us did in filing our taxes, you know, on April 15th or before. So now they've kicked it down to October. What's the smartest thing for someone to do? I mean, first of all, is that a last resort situation? Should people not do that unless they absolutely have to?
Well, the extension is an extension of time to file, not an extension of time to pay. So a lot of people will feel, okay, I'm not ready for the April 15th, this year, the April 18th deadline to file. So I'm going to go on an extension. I'm not paying anything with the extension. And a lot of people feel that, okay, I'm safe now to October 15th or October 17th, whatever. The case is, you're only safe from saving on the penalty for filing late. But if it turns out you're going to be filing a return and there's going to be a balance due on that, the IRS is going to assess a penalty on that. And that's like 5% per month.
Yeah, it's
that you're paying late, and it can be up to 25%. So now you've just made your tax bill a whole lot bigger because you didn't include a payment with your extension, and so your headache's going to be a lot bigger when it comes time to file that return. And guess what? Now you're paying a premium for filing a tax return later than April 15th that's got a balance due.
So if you know you're going to owe money, then you should include a check with that extension.
Yeah. And if you're in that situation where you didn't include a check with that extension, maybe it's a good idea to start prepaying that liability now, just so you're reducing that late payment penalty, which, as I said, increases 5% per month.
Yeah. So and it compounds itself.
Yep. Plus you got the interest on top of that.
Plus you got the interest.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I should really knuckle down and get my taxes done as
Yeah.
soon as possible.
Correct.
All
Yep.
right.
Yeah, because you don't have to wait until October 15th to file,
Yeah.
right? That's just the deadline for the
Yeah.
extension. You could file a month late,
Yeah.
2 months late, And then that could shorten that window too.
Right.
Because there are some people out there who probably don't know. Am I going to owe? Am I going to have a
Yes,
refund?
I don't know.
You don't know. So you probably aren't going to owe that much. So
No.
the penalty wouldn't be that significant. But for a lot of people, they know they're going to owe. They know they're going to owe
And they know they're going to owe
a lot.
quite a chunk.
In a
That's
lot,
right.
in a lot of
And
cases.
until that return gets filed, whether you file it October 17th or you file it in May, the IRS is not going to know how much you owe the IRS until you file that tax return.
So they won't know how much to penalize you
That's right.
until you send them the information,
Mhm.
which is crazy. So in the case that someone has filed for an extension, is it too late to do? What's the smartest next step? Okay, I filed for an extension. Is there a good smart next step, or is it just get that thing filed as soon as you can?
The good next step would be get your tax return done. And of course, if you're going to owe money, let's address how that's going to be paid, unless you have the ability that you could just write a check to the government and be done with it. If that's the case, you don't need my help for the past, except what can I find out for the future so you're paying less, and if maybe there was something that got missed in the past that I could lower that liability.
I wonder about this, Jeff. If there's somebody who, they own a business, let's say, and let's say they have a really good year. Maybe they had a bad year the year before, an okay year the year before that. They had a really good year, they're going to owe a lot of money. You can go back the last 2 years, look and see if there's any credits to extract from that to help cover the liability for the current year, right? Because if you get a credit for those years, don't they offset, essentially?
Yes, it can be an offset, or it can be where you get the refund first, and now you turn around and you'll be writing a check to the IRS for 2015.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, I had never thought about that before. Listening to your radio show recently, as I do anytime I can, Fridays 2 to 3 p.m. ESPN 1700 with Windus Fernandez, your co-host. Amazing show that you guys do. Extremely informative, well laid out. And of course, your blog I've been bragging about for forever.
Yes.
At the contactslaw.com website, where you blog about stuff that's real, that
Right.
involves tax issues, things that are happening in the news, things that people can learn from. You've been screaming at the top of your lungs for a long time now about people with undisclosed foreign bank accounts and how much they're going to get bid on this, how much of a window there is for them to still get away with it, essentially, or at least to be able to come forward, not be caught, come
Right.
forward and say I have these things, and you can really get some leniency for people, and you've done a great job of that. But I was hearing you talk about the Panama Papers.
Yeah.
Mine got blown. I got all swirled up, and I had to get out of the car. What is the Panama Papers, and what's going on there?
Well, basically, there's a law firm in Panama, Mossack Fonseca, and they've been doing this for about 40 years, assisting U.S. taxpayers as well as taxpayers in other countries on how they can essentially, the IRS calls it evade taxes, evade U.S. taxes. Okay, of course they don't call it that. They're, providing advice and guidance to their clients for tax planning, but IRS says no. You guys have been involved in tax evasion and assisting your clients to evade taxes from their home countries. In many ways, how the IRS alleged a lot of Swiss bankers have been helping out U.S. taxpayers to achieve that goal. And so there essentially was a leak of like 2.6 terabytes of data, of documents that the IRS has got a hold of, and it names so many people, well-known politicians, celebrities, and I'm sure a lot of other people who don't even have any notoriety, except that they've at some point had communications with this firm, and this firm would have done some planning for them, maybe set up some offshore entities and stuff like that. And it's just absolutely crazy how a lot of people now have been tied up with this law firm. And don't get me wrong, just because maybe you communicated with this law firm doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't mean that you broke the law or anything like that. But you know what they say, when you harvest a basket of apples and you've got some bad apples in there, you're kind of judged, to the same quality of those bad apples.
Yeah, it's very normal for that to happen, especially in the law, especially with the government. in law. I mean, if you are associated with it, you're going to be investigated.
That's right.
That's what's going to happen. You're going to be investigated. So, man, 2.6 terabytes, I wouldn't call that a leak. That's like a fire hose.
Yeah.
I mean, that
It's
is
a lot. It's a lot. Millions of documents. And the whole point is, if you do have undisclosed foreign bank accounts, it's best to be proactive, come forward in one of the voluntary disclosure programs that the IRS has put out. And there's different kinds, so it depends on your situation. But if you're targeted for investigation, or even randomly you're selected for an audit, the IRS doesn't even know you have foreign bank accounts, you cannot get into one of these programs. So it's huge. It's huge. And the more that the IRS can show that you knew what you were doing and getting involved with like a foreign law firm and getting involved in foreign entities, the more likely the IRS will lock you out of the most favorable programs for taxpayers to come forward. And then you're kind of left with going in a program that's not as favorable, still keep you out of jail, still keep you away from the maximum penalties, but you know, you're paying a higher price.
simply not as good. It's great stuff, great information. Jeff, great to see you again, my friend.
Same here.
All
Thanks.
right. Thank you
Thanks
so
for having
much.
me.
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.